I know one thing that I know about green is that we're trying to reduce global warming.
What I believe it means to be green is respecting the natural resources, or I should say the limited resources that this planet has, and using them prudently and being efficient with it.
To be green means to be responsible of how you're going to take care of your environment, to recycle, and just to try to do your best not to continue to pollute the earth.
No, what is that?
I have heard about the green roof. I've just heard it mentioned, but the details of it, no.
Yes, I have heard of the green roof. I don't know much about it in terms of its overall purpose, but what I'm thinking might be because they use organic food that's grown there. No, I did not know there was anything green about the carpeting.
No, actually. No.
No.
Honestly, I don't know much about the green culture in the garage. I haven't been really spoken to about it much.
The green culture in the garage. Honestly, I guess it's cool. I mean, I haven't, paid too much attention to the details. I just see that there's, that they have logos, of each level it's mentioned has a specific fancy green label to it. But besides that, I don't know any details of the actual green culture garage here at Shady Grove, unfortunately.
To begin with, if it's a new building, you have to consider the designs, efficiency in the design, then use of the materials, efficiency in the use of the material and everything else to minimize the waste. And then thirdly, you come across providing the appropriate energy which you need. And you can use as much as you can from the ground, which is called geothermal, and then compensate remaining portion of the energy which you need from solar.
I was with construction the whole time with University College. I've went about 4 dozen different renovations and things like that since I've been here. 22 years now I've been working for the state. And building 1 was actually, I was part of the technology side of the construction for building 1, and that was constructed in the early 90s, and it was dedicated in 1992. And then building 2 came up, and it was being built right around 95, and it opened up in 96. And then, of course, Shady Grove 3, I was part of the Shady Grove 3 building.
I came to Shady Grove in 2005, and the Building 3 project initiated and was part of a design, and I began to be part of the committee to be on the implementation of that project. I didn't know much about green, so I wasn't as invested or understood how important it was to construction projects. However, what I really liked about the new building and the team that was around the building was their need to innovate, be creative, and to be leaders in education. Environmental design was key on the list, and so I learned about the process primarily through the leadership of those that were on the team in design and construction.
Funny, it was a total, just like I'm saying, it's just a whole progress since I've been working here. It was just, let's get the building built, and there was some consideration for these things when I was on these building committees, but that has all increased dramatically since, especially going from building 1 to building 2, and then building 2 to building 3.
I think this was one of the first LEED buildings in the state of Maryland. Yeah. Was the largest LEED Gold building.
Initially, greening and LEEDs and everything associated with LEEDs, because it was such a new idea, and there was not that many manufacturers and not that many products on the market, then the cost of doing green and LEED buildings were expensive because you had to go to one manufacturer, his cost was high, and that became a problem.
I think it was one of the first questions we were asked when we were going to build a green building was how much extra would it cost you? What was the return on investment? How would this make sense? I mean, we're obviously a state institution. Nobody wants to waste anybody's money. And so it was really key to our analysis of what we did. When we looked at this building with Building 3 when we were done, it really only added about 1% to the cost of the building. To add in the green features. It was a lot of elbow grease though, on those of us on the committee to try to find what were the right products that were sustainable, how could we communicate that. But a lot of it was the planning from the very beginning. If you build green up front, it costs you a lot less than going back and renovating and adding it later. And so the way the windows are placed, the way the building is situated, so you get the most sun and light with the least amount of heat that you would then have to spend money to cool on. The amount of natural lighting that you see throughout this building would have been a lot harder to tear down a wall or move something and add windows later. It was all put in the very beginning and planned that way. Because of that, it did not add that much to the cost of the building, and we have had energy savings since then.
Well, I think the first thing you want to do is to look at, you probably get your biggest bang for your buck is environmental systems.
Okay.
When you get that because that's where you spend most of your money in the energy consumption. Can help you out quite a bit. As we talked about it, we're still doing it with building number 1 and building number 2. We're trying to do EB leads for building 1 and 2. And what we're working on with that, as you've already identified, and I guess some of your filming, is the retrofitting of bathrooms, you know, because now we have energy efficient fixtures that doesn't run all the time. We're doing that with some of the water closets. We're doing it with the laboratory fixtures as well.
What we have here, these are Zurn faucets. They're battery powered to save on water and energy cost. They use less water because we have a tendency, there's people that come in and they leave the faucets on, so we switched over to battery powered faucets, Zurn. And they save us, they let out little water as possible than the standard faucet. Also because we've changed the aerators are being changed too, which gives you less water flow. All right, and what we have here, we have a 1.6 gallons flush water saver diaphragm in here. Also, we have the handle. You can either pull up for less or push down for more flush.
You try to do those kind of things because that gives you the big bang right off the top of the bat. When you start doing things like that with your HVAC system, it works even greater.
What this is here, this is a VFD, a variable speed drive. And what this does, it regulates our motors, fan speed. So as we need more air, the fan speed will pick up. This will make it rise up to a higher speed. It'll drop it back down when we need less.
Okay, well here's one of our variable frequency drives. Here's the on-off switch so we can turn it off and work on it safely and not hurt ourselves. And then right here, if something's the matter with the drive and it goes bad, blows up, these switches allow us to turn it on so we'll run at 100%.
The building is very sophisticated. As you know, when you walk into a classroom, if the classroom is cool when you walk into it, you stay there for about another 10 minutes. Well, another 5 minutes, you hear systems coming on. Recognize the fact that the room is occupied, and it will start to regulate itself to do what needs to be done to the environment, whether it's provide heat or provide cooling.
The biggest thing that you have to do is get the data from the system that you're reading, and then try and find a better way to operate your building to keep using less. We have cut back on by changing our temperature of the hot water in the building, by bringing it lower than what it was, and that saves gas. And we saw a dramatic effect of that when we first did that.
You know, those kind of things help. And then, as I said to you before, the building will notify engineers when something is going wrong. Yeah. It will call somebody till somebody picks up and answer the call. So those kind of things help you in terms of the manpower and how you